So there's stories that you read about or that are just crazy enough to be told where a couple moves in right next door to the other couple, they become best friends, and then in 2 years, oh, and by the way, they both have kids, and then in 2 years, both couples get divorced, and then they get married to the other person. Like,
they were in a relationship the whole time.
Yeah, we're hearing this is like a TLC drama story. This is something this is what TMZ talks about. So,
and there's a name for that. It's called wife swapping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So what about that?
So we're talking about a very small pool within that. Is this normal to you, or do you guys? How do you guys? When you hear a story like that, what's your initial reaction? Are you in the heck yes, just do what you want, or do you think that's completely wrong?
I have to let the lady go first on this.
I have an initial reaction. I'm just going to run with it. My initial reaction is that the BFFs that live next door were in a relationship the whole time. Mm-hmm. And that's infidelity. And if the married couple was mutually unhappy and it was a mutual thing, then that's wife swapping. If it's different, then that's emotional infidelity. That is a thing. Emotional cheating exists. And that's just where I'm coming from with it. So if you live right next door to somebody and you're in an unhappy relationship, then that's just knocking for opportunity to fill a void, and then of course it can turn into something more. But because you're right next door, you're accessible. You're willing, you're able.
Yeah.
And I think.
And do you move in next door with them after? Like, how does that work? Do you buy a new house, or do you continue living next door?
Let's just take the adults out of the equation, and let's just talk about how screwed up that is to your kids.
Super screwed up.
Like you're not really causing that much emotional trauma to each other.
Yeah.
Think about what your kids are going through at that point. I think that's I can't understand or like relate in any way to a situation like that. So that's my opinion.
I think it's got to be confusing, but there has to be more context with what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's super jacked up for the kids because now you have to move. What do you do after you divorce your spouse and marry the person next door? That is definitely.
So I am definitely going to do my best to bring some clarity on this topic. Whether the spouse, spouses, grant permission to their spouse for this behavior, or if one spouse engages with the other spouse without the other spouse's knowledge. I feel like I need a flow chart here. It doesn't really matter. It is absolutely infidelity. And you can look at that as a legal term. You can look at that as a biblical term. It doesn't matter. It's infidelity, plain and simple. And whether you have permission to do that or don't have permission to do that, it's going to up.
Yep.
Period.
A homewrecker energy.
A homewrecker's like the softest term you could use. And, don't get me wrong, right? Anything that's super fun or exciting, it can be that way for a short term. But, if you really look at it over the long haul, it's just super, super bad idea. So, and then to your point, both of y'all actually, when you look at the implications of Divorce. You know, splitting assets. You know, you got a couple $100,000 in your 401. I mean, basically, you just went to the casino and rolled the dice on half of that, and you lost. It's gone. Oh yeah, a couple hundred. How about a couple million? Maybe that's your number. Maybe that's what you got, and you're only going to get half of that. I mean, I could go on and on, but it's bad juju. It's a bad idea. Don't recommend it. What is it, Gary V? Hey, I'm gonna have a Gary V. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. It's not.
Rejected.
Rejected.
So let's